At the turn of the 20th century, Dr. Edgar T. Shields wanted a life of adventure as a medical missionary to heal people in need, and China was calling to him.
There are missionary books written in the late 19th century promoting missions as a way to experience the world.
Dr. Shields, a man who's really an open mind, an exciting mind, a man who lives.
He was a photographer, he was a letter writer. He is thinking about the world he lives in through the lens of his camera.
Edgar got his chance to lead a life of service in 1908 and would find himself in the midst of a revolution that would end a dynasty.
The Xinhai Revolution breaks out. This is something that's so exciting about the missionaries. They leave these rural areas from Pennsylvania and Ohio and Indiana, and they are thrown into some of the most cataclysmic events that the world has known to date.
Edgar was committed to recording his experience until he found himself caught in a world-changing conflict. He wound up documenting history. A kind and adventurous soul was born in 1877 in Taylorville, Pennsylvania. This year would bring Edgar Thompson Shields into the world. He would spend his life trying to make it a better place by healing others.
Everything we know about him is from the letters and stories. The missionary stuff was really important to him, and he really was there to save people. In the way they were brought up, salvation comes with being Christian.
At this point in history, the American Civil War was a recent event. Those who participated in the conflict were sometimes seen in a larger-than-life status. Along with growing up in a religious family, Edgar's father, William Shields, a soldier for the Union Army, would have an influence on Edgar's life decisions.
A lot of the sons of these Civil War veterans felt that they were lacking in some respect. They needed to do their own great heroic thing. If it wasn't going to be fighting in a war, what could it be? Well, it could be serving overseas as missionaries. That was considered to be heroic and adventuresome and all these things that their fathers had done, which they wanted to replicate.
In 1894, at 16 years old, with 1 year of high school completed, Edgar began his studies at Bucknell Academy and College with a growing passion that would steer his life's course.
He feels the need to bring other young people to God and to help them spread the word of God. He is a manager of a student group that sends out students to missionize within Pennsylvania.
Graduating in 1901, he continued his education, earning his medical degree from the University of Pennsylvania. It was there he would fall in love with a young nurse, Frances Elizabeth Davis. Lovingly known as Betty or Bessie, she nursed Edgar back to health from a bout of typhoid. After graduating in 1906, the two married and a year later welcomed their son, William. Ignited by his enthusiasm for service and adventure, Edgar applied for missionary work with the American Baptist Mission Board. In August of 1908, Edgar finally got the chance that he'd been dreaming of. At the age of 31, the newly minted Dr. Edgar T. Shields and his new family headed to Western China to run a hospital to begin his brand new adventure. Missionaries like Edgar were living in an exciting time when China opened its doors to Western countries eager to assist and convert.
The Treaty of Tianjin in 1860 allowed missionaries to travel anywhere within China and to buy land to build churches. There was something very heroic about putting yourself in a place where everybody you encounter is a potential convert to Christianity.
When missionaries go to China, there's often this stigma that they're here to, just like everyone else, colonize, oppress, dictate. However, once you look closely at what they're doing and how they're doing it, you realize that they occupy this gray area.
The stereotype of missionaries that oppressed culture and overstepped their bounds exists for a reason. But they also supported the effort to build a modern nation.
They're helping with reform, with education, with medicine. They're also building Chinese Christian communities in which Chinese Christians are indigenizing their religion, making Christianity Chinese, rather than fitting China into Christianity.